Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Nissan Football Blitz. No costumes this week, which I realize is a letdown for everybody. Kind of like that Broncos-Ravens game. Bit of a letdown. We got Mike Sanford and Nate Jackson here to help break it down for us. So that game we went into, we said this is going to be a measuring stick, a litmus test. I don't know what other words we use, but I definitely...
Barometer,
yes,
thermometer,
all of those.
ometer.
Broncos didn't measure up as well as we were hoping to.
Ruler.
So where do you place the Broncos now after that game?
It was just a wake-up call. It was a gut check. I do think that the Broncos defense, deservedly so, had been riding very high to the point where you wonder if they're reading some of their own news clippings a little bit, just about how good they were. They came across the absolute best defense in best offense in all of pro football, and that's the Baltimore offense. I think that offense, when they're playing up to their standard, is truly unstoppable. The only thing that can get in the way of that is Lamar Jackson not being healthy, and he was healthy in that game. And on the offensive side of the ball, I love Sean Payton going for it on fourth down a bunch of times. I just think that the playmakers need to step up and make the plays that Sean Payton dialed up, because they were there to be had, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was the type of game you had to play a perfect game offensively to stay pace with those guys. And, Lamar Jackson was healthy. He only rushed for like 5 yards. He didn't really take off at all. He was healthy enough to do what he had to do. But this Broncos offense moved the ball really well in the first half. They just couldn't finish. And I like going for it on fourth down. I like being aggressive. But I want to see, they were on the 33-yard line. They elected to go for it on 4th and 4. Kick that field goal, man. Put points on the board. Will Lutz can make a 51-yarder in his sleep. So I thought he was a little too aggressive, and the coaching wasn't great by Sean Payton, to be honest. But this team, I think, saw what it's going to take to be an upper echelon team. You got to play basically a perfect game to beat a team like that on the road.
See, as a former coach, and I love that we're going to disagree on this, but I agree to disagree, because I think that Sean Payton coached that particular game knowing how high-powered the Ravens offense was, and knowing that he needs to teach his young players, his young quarterback, the plays that you're going to have to make to keep pace in these types of games, because that defense isn't going to hold everybody to 13, 14 points. And so I love the aggressiveness, and I think it's going to actually bode well to grow from last week where you failed to this week where I think you can have some success.
Let me ask you this, though. Him being so aggressive like that, is that not saying my team's not good enough to play their brand of ball to beat a team that's elite? Because that's kind of what it seemed like. To
me, there is a fine line between being aggressive and being a little stupid. And I'm not saying he was stupid, but if I'm a player and it's 4th and 4, and we have a field goal kicker who dials it at practice from 60, 65. We've seen him make him a 70-yarder, and you won't let him kick a 51-yarder. When's the last time he's let Will Lutz kick a 50-plus yarder? For some reason, he loves going for it, right? When you have a kicker who can do it, I want to put points on the board there. And I want to, inside of 2 minutes, there were some play calls there where they didn't manage the clock well. I'm talking about the first half. Gave them enough time to move the ball. So Sean Payton, not a perfect game by him. I think he probably stood in front of the team and said as much. I got to be better. We know we all have to be better, but that's the measuring stick, litmus, barometer, thermometer, all the ometers.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. As a coach, do you just go with what got you there? And in the case of the Broncos defense, I think they got away from what got them there. They didn't pressure Lamar Jackson. I think they were really concerned about the quarterback-driven run game. Didn't even factor into it whatsoever. He didn't run the ball, period. On the flip side, if you think about Sean Payton, like what got you to that point was also partially playing against bad teams that can't score. And so I thought Sean Payton coached the game situation incredibly well, and that's my opinion. I actually thought it was his best coach game of the year.
Okay, I like it. Well, you earlier said that, the playmakers got to make plays. You could argue that Bo Nix was the best player on the field for the Broncos. We keep going back to this. Sean keeps saying everyone around him has to be better. So I'm going to ask you, are the guys around him, are they good enough right now?
They're not. And if you look at that measuring stick game of Baltimore, that particularly wasn't, you didn't make the plays you needed to when you needed to make them. Now, I think Bo Nix he has blood on his hands too. There was a wide open 4th down shot down the field. You've got to make that throw. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to make that throw. And it was wide open. Troy Franklin he created the separation. Everybody's been saying nobody creates separation. He created that separation. Critical moment to beat a really good team. You have to make that throw.
Sean Payton John Harbaugh, both have coached 17 years. John Harbaugh, 17 years in the same place. This is the team that's been clicking on all cylinders for a long time, and you saw it, that this is a very efficient team offensively, maybe not so much defensively, but their offense is really, really good. Sean Payton wants to get to that point. The idea that you're going to bring in a playmaker who's going to change your fate here, I hate it. I don't like it at all. You have all these young players who you like. Let's play with them this year and see how they turn out. Is Devon Vele your playmaker? Is Marvin Mims? Is Troy Franklin? We need to find out, and the way you find out is by playing them. Give them opportunities, and at the end of the season, when the dust settles, you find out what you need and start plugging those holes.
All right, I will continue to bang the drum for more Devon Vele, but we got to take a break. On the other side, we're going to figure out how we're talking about a win in our next Blitz and how the Broncos take down Kansas City. We're going to break down the keys to victory when we get back. Welcome back into the Viewhouse Centennial for another great edition of the Nissan Football Blitz. Broncos heading out to Kansas City to take on their division rival. The Chiefs are 8-0, but they're kind of one of those 8-0 teams. They've got the worst point differential of any 8-0 team in NFL history. It feels like this could be a game that the Broncos could get the better of Kansas City, but they got to do a couple things. And so for that, we have our experts to give us their keys to the game. Coach, let's start with you.
All right. Well, I chose to wear, outside of our normal dress code, which is snappy casual,
Yes.
I decided to put on my Broncos winter sweater because there's snow on the ground, and here we are. Also, I chose to do it because I truly believe that the Broncos are going to beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. I truly believe it. And I thought going into this two-game stretch with two dynamic road teams that you're going to lose big to Baltimore. I just saw the writing on the wall with the dynamic offense. I don't think the Chiefs, on the other hand, are going to score at the clip that the Ravens have throughout the course of the season. I believe that the key to victory for this particular game is going to be utilizing Bo's legs in situational football because this is now a divisional game. You're 1-1 in your division. You've beaten the Raiders. You lost to the Chargers. This is an opportunity to do something that this franchise hasn't done in a decade, and I believe that Sean Payton is going to pull out all of the stops. And so I think that Bo Nix in the red zone, scoring touchdowns with his legs, you've got to find a way to turn those threes into sevens, and if you do that, I think you beat the Chiefs.
Okay, I like that. I like Bo catching touchdown passes, too, though.
Yeah, throw them, catch them, run for them.
That's fun as well, whatever.
Has anyone ever thrown one, ran for one, and caught one in the same game? Maybe Bo will be doing that at
like
Geehaw
that.
Stadium. It's Geehaw now. They've changed the name to GEHI, which stands for Government Education Healthcare Association. Something really silly like that we can make fun of them about.
Can we call it Arrowhead anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we should call it Geehaw because that's what it is. It's Geehaw. You said they're the lowest point differential of any 8-0 team in history, so they're the worst awesome team the Broncos have ever come across.
There you
they're
go.
back-to-back Super Bowl champions. I'm not quite as optimistic as Coach about how this game's going to turn out. I will say, though, to me, it goes back to putting pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Everyone says you can't blitz him. You can't blitz this guy. However you got to do it, you got to put him on the ground. He's banged up. He's a human being. He bleeds blood. He has flesh and bones, and you got to hit him. You got to hit him hard. You're a quarterback. You don't like getting hit, right? And you got to make him run because he doesn't want to run. Put pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and you have a chance, I think. And I think this Broncos offense is going to be able to move the ball, but the Chiefs defense is very, very good. Yeah,
Steve Spagnuolo is 5-2 against rookie quarterbacks. He's also one of the best maestros of blitz packages to confuse a quarterback. But I agree wholeheartedly with what Nate's saying is get back to pressuring the quarterback. Be committed to doing it. Don't be afraid. You have really good cover players that make it right on the back end. I believe that last Sunday was a bit of an outlier for the secondary unit. I think they get back on track against this Kansas City receiving crew that's good, but I don't think it's elite.
And hopefully getting a boost there with P.J. Locke back at practice, and hopefully he'll be ready to go. They certainly missed him last week, so that would be helpful. So we will find out. I feel like the one thing with the Chiefs is with Spags. Nobody talks about their defense, right? Because we're always talking about Mahomes. What might be the toughest thing that Bo Nix faces with this defense?
Well, I think that the issue is just the schematics. It seems like Spags is one of those evil scientists that just sits in the corner and is like, oh, how am I going to make this rookie quarterback's day miserable? And it's a lot of the different looks with the front, how to protect yourself, which Bo Nix has done a really good job at the line of scrimmage pre-snap. I think it's going to be a lot more challenging. A little bit like Mike McDonald at Seattle. He's going to throw the kitchen sink at him and try to make him think before the actual snap.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like 7 guys are coming, but only 4 are. 3 drop out, 3 come over here. And so the pre-snap stuff confuses a young quarterback. And so obviously it's up to Sean Payton to prepare him for that, right? I mean, as a coach, how do you prepare? With some quick pass stuff, some obvious answers for some, what do you do, Mike? What do you do?
Here's my thing is that Steve Spagnuolo has never coached in college, at least in the last 20, 30 years. Get collegey on him. And some of that is the quarterback-driven run game. I keep saying it. It's because I believe in Bo Nix as a game-breaking type player when he does get those opportunities.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Well, we got a lot more Broncos talk coming up tomorrow morning as well. Make sure you join us for Ford Countdown to kickoff 9:30. Rod and Jeff Legwald will join us from Geehaw Stadium, Arrowhead out there. We're going to take a break. Coming up next, we got State Your Case. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the Football Blitz. It is time now for State Your Case with the great Mike Sanford and Nate Jackson here. I didn't print them out this week. I apologize.
Why, Romy?
You know
Why
what?
did you not?
It's just been one of those weeks.
Should we pass the iPad, take a hit, and pass it kind of deal, or what?
I'm just going to read them.
Ooh, that's even harder.
Read them.
I'm nervous.
So now you have to exercise your memory and... Are we ready?
Ooh,
okay. Here we go.
I have to listen.
State your case. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Nate. Bo Nix has emerged as the NFL's best rookie quarterback.
I can't say that right now. I think Jaden Daniels is that guy right now, but the season's basically only half over, and Bo Nix has been coming on in month 2. The first month, was a rough one for Bo. Jaden Daniels came on quickly. Bo Nix is coming on slowly, but he's coming on, and I wouldn't say at the end of the season I would have a different answer. But right now, I don't think it is Bo. I think it's Jaden Daniels is the best rookie quarterback.
I am going to fictitiously state the case that Bo Nix is the best quarterback because we can use stats any way we want to.
Yeah.
Right now in the National Football League, Bo Nix is second only to Lamar Jackson in creating plays of 20 yards or more via the ground game, with him taking off and running, or down the field with his arm. And so he's got 33 of those types of plays, which is bigger and more than Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Bigger and more.
That's pretty solid.
It's really good.
Yeah, very.
Yes, there we go. Size matters. So let's state your case number 2. Coach, Denver's defense was exposed in Baltimore.
That is not the case. So I'm going to state the case that Denver's defense had a bit of it was an outlier of a performance against Baltimore. They saw a offense that is doing the same thing to just about everybody across the league. I just think that they got away from being who they are in the fear of what Lamar Jackson could do with his feet. Don't worry about that. Go get back to blitzing, playing aggressively, and I think they'll be just fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they got exposed to the best offense in the world, like a lot of other teams in the NFL have. 450 yards per game is what the Baltimore Ravens offense is putting up. They're playing really, really well. They have a ton of weapons, good tight ends, receivers, all-world running back, and by the way, a quarterback who's the MVP last year. So I think it was a really good thing for this defense to get punched in the mouth like that, to go back to the drawing board, to maybe not smell themselves a little bit, like they were before, and start thinking, okay, we got to get better. The season's halfway through. We might even see these guys again in the playoffs. You never know. So playoffs, but we have some things to improve, and I think they just ran into a buzzsaw.
You know what gave me a lot of optimism from this week was Jonathan Cooper comes out of signing a massive contract. It happened over the weekend, actually, before the game against Baltimore, and all he could talk about the entire week was that the bad taste that he had in his mouth about the performance as a defensive unit. That, to me, is a microcosm of what I think is going to happen this Sunday, and this defense can get right back on track.
Jonathan Cooper's one of the most passionate players. Super happy to see him get signed. I don't think we have time for the third. We have 30 seconds. We don't have time for the third one. So we got 2 in today. That's not too bad. We're going to take a break because on the other side, we got some player props. We got some fun ones. Fun ones this week. So stick around. We will be right back. Nate's going to tell you how to spend your money right after this. Well, welcome back into the Nissan Football Blitz. Time now for some player props. And you know what? We're going a little bit off the beaten path this time. We're going to go with Audric Estime anytime touchdown. That's at plus 600.
Wow.
Would you take that gamble?
Take it.
Ooh, I like it.
And I'm going to Vegas at some point here in the near future to go see my dad coach a playoff game, potentially his last season coaching.
Amazing.
And so I say Audric Estime is going to be utilized inside the tight red zone, and he will find a way to get the end zone.
I would like to see that.
I actually say don't because he's had some fumbling issues. I don't think you're going to right away give this kid the opportunity. I think you want to see him tote the rock, maybe 10, 15 carries. I don't know. I don't think he's going to get the ball inside the 5-yard line, so he's going to have to break something
Quick
off.
question, arrow up or arrow down currently on Javonte Williams?
Down. He just hasn't shown the
significantly, right?
burst. I mean, he seems like he's sort of fading physically.
All right, we're running out of time, so let's get a couple in
let's
here.
gamble.
Bo Nix over under 236.5 pass and rush yards, all-purpose yards.
Over.
I say over on that as well.
Okay. Cortland Sutton over under 51.5 receiving yards.
Oh, all the way over. This guy's
All the
back-to-back
way.
100-yard receiving games. They're going to keep throwing to him. Over with Cortland.
I'm going under because I think that there's going to be a plan to slow him down after the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
He might see some bracket.
Okay. I don't know if there was a touchdown throwing prop bet for Cortland, but I would take that one. I don't know if it is. That'll do it for us, guys. Thank you so much as always. You guys are the best. We'll see you next week.
That was Football Blitz, presented by Nissan.